In this practice lesson, I'm going to show you how to work with an event procedure on a form and provide some code to do some work. I'm going to do something very simple, but is actually fairly common in many forms you might create for a Microsoft Access application. This is a form that would display the records in the employees table. And what would be very convenient is to know what record you're on and the total number of records in the table. So we've added to the top of that form two fields to do that. This field which would record the current record, which we're referring to, and this which would give the total. Kind of like what you might see at the bottom of very large text documents where it says page number something of the total number of pages. So what I'm going to do in this practice is to set the total, and in the practice that I'll have you work on is to put in the value of the current record. So this is a field that we're going to want to put a value into. Since everything we do in event procedures refer to the name of objects on forms, I need to get its name. So open up the property sheet, get its name. Its name appears right on the top. It's txt total. Great. So now I know the name of the text box that I'm adding a value to. Now, the next thing I have to consider is the event procedure in which to do it. Now, this relates to the records in the record set that's being displayed on this form. Now, when does that get created? Well, if you remember back to what we discussed about the three events when a form opens. The open event draws the form and has the objects be known by their name. Load is what puts in the data, including filling the record set. So at the load stage, we'd know how many records we've got. Activate then just makes this the current form and points the cursor at whatever the first field is in the form. So load is probably a good event. So let's get to the overall form events by clicking on the upper left corner to get to the form object. And we already have something here in the load event. So let's see, we'll change it. All we've got is the standard header. Okay, fine. Now we want to put the text in here to fill that field. The name of the item was txt total. Now you'd think, oh, we're changing the value property. We're not going to do .value in this case because in some versions and some of the default controls that your Access would have, value is a read-only property, can't be changed. But what it does do is if you simply put something into that object, it knows you're putting in the value. So we don't have to worry about that. Now let's get the value. Well, we want to get the value from the record set. But the record set of what? This form. There's an object that's used in Microsoft Access to refer to the current form. It's the me object. So great, I want the me object. Now here's, by hitting the period, I get all of the events and properties of the me object. I want something to do with the record, so let's go down to there. And we've got, we got the record set itself, record set clone, which is a copy of it, record source. That's where we're getting the data from. No, we actually want to deal with the record set that contains the records that are being filled in this form. But since we're only reading it, we don't want to mess with the actual record set. It might actually take longer because it has to store a copy and everything just in case you change something. We'll just do the clone, which is a copy of it. A read-only copy of it. That's sufficient for us. Saves us some time. We don't have to worry about the overhead that would be involved in working directly with the record set. But that's just the overall record set. We only want one particular property of that record set. How many records are there? So we need a property of that individual. And there is a record count property which will do just that. So we save this information, close out of here to go back to the form, and if we view the form, we can see that indeed in that box it puts the number of records. I only have one record in the sample database at this time. But see, it proves it. It shows only one record. So that's how you'll be able to do that. What I challenge you is in the practice, and you'll see the description under this unit, is to try to fill this text box.